Welcome back, students. This is the third part of the chapter, the fun they had. And in the first two parts, we dealt with the lesson. The second part, we studied about we discussed the questions, the text-based questions given at the back of the lesson. I told you apart from the text-based questions, there are a lot of vocabulary, grammar-based questions also. So let's um, get to it, and we are going to, I hope that we'll be able to finish the lesson today itself. So first we'll start with the adverbs. Okay. Now adverbs, are a part of speech that define a verb. That means they tell us something about the verb. Okay. Read this sentence taken from the story. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. So completely is the adverb here. The word complete is an adjective, and when you add ly to it, it becomes an adverb. Find the sentences in the lesson which have the adverbs given in the box below. So we have to now see where these words come in the lesson. So this is where these words come in the lesson. Awfully comes here. They turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly, and it was awfully funny to read. The second word is sorrowfully. It comes here. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing worse and worse until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully. Okay. The word completely comes here. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. Next is loftily. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully, centuries ago. Next is carefully. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully. Then differently. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Quickly. I didn't say I didn't like it, Margie said quickly. Nonchalantly. Maybe, he said nonchalantly. Now, we have, from the context, contextually understood more or less what these adverbs mean. Now, similar sentences are given over here, and these words have to be put in the blanks here to complete these sentences. So the sentence here is, the report must be read carefully so that the performance can be improved. At the interview, Samir answered our questions loftily, shrugging his shoulders. We all behave differently when we are tired or hungry or even angry. The fourth one, the teacher shook her head sorrowfully when Ravi lied to her. I completely forgot about it. When I complimented Revati on her success, she just smiled nonchalantly and turned away. The president of the company is awfully busy and will not be able to meet you. I finished my work quickly so that I could go out to play. Now, there is a box which has a note, tells you that an adverb describes action. You can form adverbs by adding ly to adjectives. Now, there is one more note that says that if the adjective itself ends in y, then what do you do? So you change the y to I and you add ly in the end. For example, angry, you remove y and put I and add ly. Okay, see this. So this is how you form adjectives, adverbs out of adjectives that end in a y. And then the next question was this, where all these words, these adjectives are given which end in a y, and this is how you change them into adverbs, adding ILY and removing Y from the end of each word. So it's angry, angrily, happy, happily, merry, merrily, sleepy, sleepily, easy, easily, noisy, noisily, tidy, tidily, gloomy, gloomily. Okay, now we come to this part. If not and unless. See, when you um, say that, you know, unless you do this, this will happen or this will not happen, or if you do not do this, this will not happen or this will happen. Like, unless you work hard, you will not pass. If you do not work hard, you will not pass. So these are speculations, some kind of uh, speculations that we make, and we use some unfulfilled conditions in the present, but if they remain unfulfilled, that would be the result. This is how these are formed. Now, these sentences are called conditionals, and the part with the if word is called the if clause. Okay, I'll tell you more about it with the help of this example. So imagine that Margie's mother told her, "You'll feel awful if you don't finish your history lesson." So this can be also said as in this manner: "You'll feel awful unless you finish your history lesson." So either use if and not, or use unless. Okay, because unless also means if not. Now, sentences with unless or if not are negative conditional sentences. Okay, that if this is not fulfilled, this will not happen. Okay, or if this is not fulfilled, this will happen. So here is a sense of, a negative conditional has a sense of a condition not being fulfilled. Okay, since we have already done conditional sentences, these terms will not be new to you. You will understand what I mean when I'm talking about conditional sentences. Now, notice that these sentences have two parts. See, you will feel awful. This is one part. And if you do not finish your history lesson, this is another part. So this part with the if clause, this is the subordinating clause, or you call it the if clause in such conditional sentences, and this part is the main clause of this sentence, right? This is one thing that you have to remember. So the part that begins with if not or unless tells us the condition. This part has a verb in the present tense. Look at the verbs: don't finish and finish. See here, finish here, and sorry, don't finish here and finish here. These are the finite verbs, and these finite verbs here in this part of these parts of the sentences, they are in the simple present tense. This part has a verb in the present tense, and the other part of the sentence tells us about a possible result. Okay, now that is a possible result that has not yet happened. So it will obviously remain be expressed in future, simple future tense. It tells us what will happen if something else that doesn't happen, that we have already talked about. Now the verb in this part of the sentence is in the future tense. You'll feel or you will feel. Okay. Now notice these two tenses again in the following examples. These are some, 3 more examples given here. There won't be any books left unless we preserve them. You won't learn your lessons if you don't study regularly. Tommy will have an accident unless he drives more slowly. Now these sentences here the main clauses come in the beginning and the if clause is coming in the second part of the sentence. The sentence can also begin with, unless we preserve them, there won't be any books left. Or we can say, if you do not study regularly, you won't learn your lessons. Unless he drives more slowly, Tommy will have an accident. We can say it this way also. Okay. Now, the most important thing to remember here is these if conditionals, if clauses are in the present tense, and the main clause is in the future tense of these sentences. Now here comes the exercise. The exercise is the conditional sentences are given. You have to complete these conditional sentences using the correct form of the verb. Okay. So the if clause is given. Now on the basis of this, you have to fill in the blank over here. If you don't go to Anu's party tonight, if you don't telephone the hotel to order food, unless you promise to write back. So these are the conditions still unfulfilled, and if they remain unfulfilled in future also, then what will happen? So let's look at the answers here. If I don't go to Anu's party tonight, she will be angry. If you do not telephone the hotel to order food, you will miss your evening meal. Unless you promise to write back, I will not write to you. If she doesn't play any games, she will become dull and lazy. Unless that little bird flies away quickly, the cat will pounce on it. So these are the examples of if conditionals, and we have completed the vocabulary part, the grammar part. All right. Now we come to the writing part of this lesson. Now the question is, a new revised volume of Isaac Asimov's short stories has just been released. Order 1 set. So this has been told, okay, already to you in the question, how many sets you have to order. Children, this is an order letter. Okay. Now in class 9 and 10, you will get these order letters, the complaint letters and all. And these letters are a lot like the formal letters that we have already done in the class. The format is the same. The writing style is the same. Only the way you present the information, that is slightly different, and it is not very difficult at all. That is why I thought that it would be a good introduction to writing the order letters if we do this exercise. Although I know that I haven't taught you the order letters, but there's nothing wrong in doing this because it's going to help you. Okay. Now, I'm going to read out the question first. A new revised volume of Isaac Asimov's short stories has just been released. Order 1 set, and write a letter to the publisher, Mind Fame Private Limited, 1632 Asif Road, New Delhi, requesting that a set be sent to you by value payable post VPP and giving your address. Your letter will have the following parts. And what are the parts? The addresses of the sender and receiver, the salutation, body of the letter, the closing phrases and signature. Your letter might look like this, and the letter is given. The format is given here to a great extent. This is what we generally study. Your address, that is the sender's address. Then comes the date, DDMMYY format that I always insist on. The receiver's address, the addressee's address is the receiver's address. Okay, children. So this you need to invent your address. This is given in the question. There will also be a subject line which is missing from here, but you will find it there in the answer. I have added that. And then comes the letter. Okay, so there may be just 4 lines here, but we do not have to limit the letter in these 4 lines. That's not a compulsion. And there is a note that the language of a formal letter is different from the colloquial style of the personal letters. For example, contracted forms such as I or can't are not used. If you use I have or cannot. Okay. So let's come to the question. Let's take a look at this. This is the format and this is the letter. So your address comes here, a complete address, because this is on the basis of this address, complete with the pin and number and everything, because the publisher is going to send the books on this address. Then the date. Okay, the date here is in this format, DDMMYY. This is actually given to you in the book, but what I always insist on is putting the month before and then the day later, and then the year of writing the letter. The publisher, then the address of the publisher. This is given to you in the question. If it is not given, you have to create an address. Then you write dear sir or ma'am, and then you write the subject. The subject is written in short in a phrase, and the introduction is again that phrase written in a complete sentence. And a simple line that the details are given below, and you will always make a table like this. Okay, and the columns will depend upon what is given in the question. So there in the question, the author, the book, and the quantity is given to you. So you make 3 columns, and this is how you distribute your information. This is how you give your information in an organized way. Okay. Now what else follows? That is the payment part. Okay. So how do you include that in a letter? You say enclosed is a demand draft or a check, whatever is asked in the question. If it is not asked, then demand draft is the safest. So you have to assume that the book must be at least 355 or whatever amount. So you say that, and then you also say that the check also, the draft also includes the VPP charges. And I shall appreciate. This is one common line that comes in the end, one goodwill line. See, without a goodwill line, you cannot end your formal letter. So you write, I appreciate your prompt delivery by VPP at the address mentioned above. One standard line that will serve all the purpose and will be good enough for all the order letters. So then after that, you write again the same, thank you, yours sincerely, your name and all. So this could be slightly different from the format that we have, we are used to writing in. But then my main concentration was on the body of the letter. I just wanted to show you how an order letter is written, and I've done that. So along with completing one lesson, we have revised a bit of the adverbs, how to form the connection between the adjectives and adverbs. And we have also revised sort of the format of a formal letter. Plus, we have got a rough idea or an introduction of the order letters. Now, the other exercises that follow are a speaking exercise, which we will, we won't be able to do right now. And I will try to, if possible, if I will try to convert it into a writing exercise for you and maybe give it to you sometime. So this is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed the class and you have gained a lot from today's class, and hope to see you soon, students. Thank you so much.